couples get a cabin together? How do you hook up if you have a cabin mate? Well. Hey sailors, welcome back to Cruising as Crew. My name is Lucy and today I'm going to be answering your couples questions. But before we start, please press like and subscribe for more cruise ship content, and if you have any video suggestions, please let me know in the comments down below, or you can DM me over on Instagram at Cruising as Crew. But as for now, let's get into the video. So, you're going to work on a cruise ship for 6 to 9 months. You're going to work in very close quarters to a lot of people from all over the world. You're going to develop a crush on someone. And I don't feel like that's new news. I think at this point, everybody knows that cruise ship crew members can date. But there are still a lot of unanswered questions because being in a romantic relationship on board a cruise ship is very different to being in a romantic relationship on land. And I think there are two main reasons for that. One, you already have an end date before you start. You're both going to end your contract at some point. So you start dating and let's say he ends his contract in April. You know that it's probably going to end there. Not always, like people do make it work and all of that, but 8 times out of 10, that's the end date. And two, the mundane realities of life don't really apply on a ship. You're not sitting on the couch watching Don't Tell the Bride, deciding who's going to cook dinner, taking the dog for a walk. Like, those things don't apply on a cruise ship. Someone's cooking for you. You don't have time to veg out on a couch. And when you are in port, you're in like the ultra honeymoon phase because your dates are spent abroad. Like, you're traveling the world with someone that you're dating. Isn't that everyone's dream? So those are the two main reasons that relationships on board are different to relationships on land. But I digress. Let's get into the questions. The first question is, how do you even date on a cruise ship? Well, I'm not going to lie to you. Most romantic couples, most dating stories that I've heard of start with a hookup. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that just tends to be how it goes. It doesn't have to go that way. You can absolutely go on dates on a cruise ship. You can go to the restaurants, you can go to see a show, they'll probably have a cinema on board. Maybe you're friends with like the sports staff and you can arrange a little rock climbing day if the ship has a rock wall or it has crazy golf. Like, these cruise ships have everything that we have on land. So if you know the right people and you manage to get some time off together, you can 100% arrange a date. Or if you don't want to date on the ship, you are going to different ports every other day. So you can arrange a day to get off in port and go to a restaurant in port, or go to the beach, you know, do whatever you want to do together. Now granted, this is going to be a little bit more difficult for my people who don't have guest privileges, so aren't allowed in guest areas and maybe don't get a lot of time off in port. But if you really want to make it work, you can make it work. There's so much to do on board the cruise ship. There's so many people on board that you can talk to arrange a nice little date for you and your date, that you can make it happen. So we all know at this point that crew members are allowed to date each other, but a good question is, are you allowed to date someone who is in the same department as you? So for example, I work in the shops. Am I allowed to date another shoppie? If you work in the spa, are you allowed to date another therapist? If you work in the bars, are you allowed to date another barmaid or barman? Yes, you are. Like, no one can really stop you and you can't help who you fall for. However, I really would caution against dating someone within your department, because your first priority when you are on board is to keep it professional. You are there to do a job. Now, if you're dating someone in your department and it's all going really well and it's all lovey-dovey, it's really hard not to bring that everywhere you go. And I've seen it many times, you know, people dating in the workplace and it's just very clear that they are dating. There's a lot of touching going on, there's a lot of sneaky kisses going on, and it's not allowed. So you can get in trouble for it. And then on the other hand, it's difficult if things go sour and you break up, or maybe you've just had a row, because you still need to work with that person and you need to put everything aside and be able to do your job. And let's say you do end up having a fight or breaking up with them. It's bad enough if you are on the same ship and you have to just like see them around. You know, you might bump into them in crew bar or in the mess or walking to work. But if you know they're going to be at work and you're going to have to spend 12 to 14 hours a day with them for the rest of your contract, it's not great. And obviously you never go into a relationship thinking that you're going to break up, or you never start dating someone thinking one day this is going to go horribly wrong. But I'm sure we all know that it is a possibility. Things can go sour, and especially when you are in such a close environment. So the answer is yes, you can date someone in your department. It is allowed, no one can stop you. However, it's not advised by anyone, and you definitely need to keep things on the DL. I've said in previous videos, you know, to keep your cards close to your chest, especially when it comes to who you're dating. This is especially true if you're dating someone in the same department as you. It's not so important to keep your cards close to your chest if you're dating someone in the spa and you're a shoppy, or in the bars, but if they're in the same department, you really need to just... How do you hook up if you have a cabin mate? Well, this is why it's so imperative to have a good relationship with your cabin mate. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you need to have a good relationship with your cabin mate, but this is a big one. You want to be able to say to your cabin mate, hey, do you mind just vacating the cabin for a while, because, you know, we're going to get busy. And then hopefully when your cabin mate's going to get busy, you will do the same for them. You will vacate the cabin for however long you need to and go to the mess, go to the bar. So that is the ideal situation. Hopefully you and your cabin mate can give each other the space that you need to get busy. Then there's also just timing it for when your cabin mate is out. Maybe they're out in port, maybe they're out to dinner with someone. So it takes a little bit of forethought, because you need to plan and see when the cabin is going to be empty. So trust me, there are ways around it, and I'm sure you will be able to get busy. You will find your way. It's not ideal. Obviously, everyone would like their own space so they could do what they want when they want. But nevertheless, we work with what we have. But this isn't something to worry about. It is just a bridge that you will cross when you come to it. Is it possible to keep a relationship secret? I'm going to say, like, within reason. If you both have cabin mates, then your cabin mates are probably going to know. And then it depends on how good your cabin mates are at keeping their mouths shut as to whether you can keep your relationship a secret or not. If you do have good cabin mates and you are also able to keep your mouth shut, then yeah, there is no reason why it couldn't be kept secret. There are maybe people that would see you going in and out of each other's cabins, or maybe they see you going out for dinner together, or see you in the crew bar together, or see you out in port together. So obviously people are going to put two and two together and be like, oh, okay, they're obviously dating. So no, actually, I take it back. No, I don't think you can keep it totally a secret. I think maybe at first, but if people see you together enough, they're gonna clock on that you're seeing each other. But people finding out about your relationship or your dating situation, that's okay. The problem comes in when they start to ask questions about it. And that's when you need to keep your cards close to your chest and just say, yeah, we're dating. And you don't need to give any more information away, because when you spill the beans, or when anyone else spills the beans, that invites in other opinions, which you probably don't want and you definitely don't need. So yeah, hopefully you have some good cabin mates who are able to keep their mouths shut, and you will be able to keep it secret for a certain amount of time, but not forever. Can you plan your time off together? No. You're on board to do a job. That is your first priority. Your relationships, your friendships come second to the job. Although I don't recommend dating someone in your department, this is why it happens so often, because your time off probably lines up better than if you're dating a chef and you're a spa therapist. Time off is probably going to clash, which means that it's very difficult to find time to spend together to get to know each other. But the short answer is no. You get the time off that you're given, and if there are a few days where it lines up with the person you're dating, then that's great. But unfortunately, quite often it doesn't. What happens if you have a fight with your partner or you break up? Well, this is the main reason why you don't want them to be in the same department as you, because then you would be unable to get any distance between you. But as I said earlier, if you have a fight or you break up, then you just kind of need to get on with it. It's business as usual, and you just need to put your mature hat on and deal with it as gracefully as you can. However, if things turn nasty and you have a nasty fight or a nasty breakup, you can go to the security team and ask them to put maybe a restraining order in place. So, you know, there are things that you can do, but there is only so much that you can do because you are on a ship, especially if you work together. I mean, you can't have a restraining order if you work together. Once again, you just need to be as strong as you can and move on. Can couples get a cabin together? So can they live together? The answer is yes if they are married, and no if they're not married. So if you've just got a boyfriend on this contract, or even last contract you got a boyfriend and you've managed to get on the same ship but you're not married, the answer is going to be no. The reason is there is a limited amount of couples cabins and they are going to keep them for married couples, because of course with married couples it's very unlikely that they're going to break up anytime soon, whereas with a fresh new couple, it's highly likely that they're going to break up soon or get into a row of some sort and all of a sudden they don't want to live together. And the thing is with these cabins, it's not as easy as just saying, I want a couple's cabin. Okay, now I don't, I want a singles cabin. Like, there aren't enough cabins for people just to switch willy-nilly. Sometimes people are on a waiting list for a couple's cabin for months and they only get into the couple's cabin like a month before their contract finishes. And also there's a hell of a lot of paperwork when people switch cabins, and quite frankly it is just a pain in the ass. So no, unless you are married, you are not going to be able to share a cabin with your partner. Can we organise to be on the same ship for our second contract? You can try. So once again, if you're married, then you can fill out a form to say you're married, and the company is going to prioritise your relationship and they are going to look to put you on a ship where you can be together. Now, because it's a lot trickier having to place two people on a ship, this means that you cannot be picky about what ship you go on, because you're already being picky about the fact that you want to go on a ship with your spouse. So I think I said in like a Q&A video that you can request your next ship. Well, if you are requesting to go on a ship with your spouse, they're just going to put you wherever there's room. You can't start requesting ships. But as I said, the company will prioritise your relationship if you are married. Now, if you're not married, the company is not going to prioritise your relationship. So I'm afraid with this, there is just a lot of hoping for the best involved. You know, you apply for the same ships for the same times and you just pray to God that there's space on the ship that you want for the both of you. And sometimes it means he might join 2 months earlier and you might join 2 months later. One of you have to be at home a little bit longer than you wanted to in order to get on the same ship. Like, there's a lot of sacrifices involved if you do want to get on the same ship as your boyfriend or girlfriend. So you definitely need to make sure that they are worth it. But the short answer is yes if you are married, and if you're lucky, if you aren't married. Can cruise ship relationships last? Absolutely, 100%. I know quite a lot of people actually who met on a cruise ship and are still together 2 years, 5 years, 7 years later. It's just how much you both want it, how much work you are willing to put in. You know, if you're from different countries, are you willing to either get on the same ship, completely quit ships so that you can be together? Maybe one of you moves to the other's country. But yes, absolutely, cruise ship relationships can turn into long-term partnerships. What happens if you are from different countries? Which you most likely will be, because on a cruise ship there, you know, 51 nationalities and upwards. So it's very likely that you're going to have a crush on someone from the other side of the world. That seems to be my pattern. A lot of the time it is going to end when the contract ends, because you're both going to go back to your countries or go on different ships or carry on with your lives. But going back to the previous question, can they last? It just depends on if you're willing to work on it. You know, do you love this person enough to sacrifice what you need to sacrifice in order to make this relationship work? So my advice for relationships on board cruise ships would be, don't tell everyone your business, keep your cards close to your chest. Try not to date someone in your department. I know you can't help who you fall for, but you can help who you date. and take every day as it comes. Don't get caught up in the future, don't get caught up in what's to come. Just enjoy it for what it is. Don't take it too seriously. Have fun with it. And you don't want to spend all your time with this person stressing about the future that you can't do anything about. But anyway guys, I really hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please press like and subscribe for more cruise ship content. And if you have a part 2 to this or any more questions that you want me to answer, then leave them in the comments down below, or you can DM me over on Instagram at Cruising As Crew. But I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Bye.